On the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin' no. Knuckle up or buckle up. I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or got to go.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life.
Yo, 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 yo! What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. You feel me? Oh man, you already know what's going down today, bruh. So guess what? Guess what? Ha, turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it all the way off now. Yeah. Okay. How's everybody doing? This is going to be a jam-packed episode of Sports Plus Life today, and please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, and I'm host of that show called Sports Plus Life, that there podcast where we talk about all of the necessary topics in sports and all of the necessary topics in life. And I hope everybody is having a wonderful day in the Richmond, VA. It's rainy, it's been a rainy day, borderline chilly day, 50 degrees, the weather has actually been consistently chilly over the last 3-4 days, which is a shock because Richmond, Virginia has been having that schizophrenic weather. And, and like I said, it's rainy. It's a dreary day. I really didn't even want to get up. Once I dropped my kids off at school, I came back home, didn't watch none of my sports shows. Nothing took my behind right back to sleep, and didn't get up till about 12:30. Yeah, I was just tired, I guess. Just tired. But anyway, this is the week of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is on Thursday, and this marks 3 years since Sports Plus Life started. 3 years. How about that? I'm still over here talking ish. I am, but 3 years. I started on Thanksgiving of 2018. That was the very first show. You can still find it on YouTube. How about that? But overall, in general, there's some things that I would like to change with the show. I would like to have more action as far as you being able to see me, my movements, things of that nature, instead of just strictly audio. But all of that stuff will come in due time, but either way, I'm just grateful. And speaking of grateful, I just would like to shout out my people from the HS, the Black and Gold community, and as well as shouting out everybody else. But there's a special place in my heart for my Black and Gold fam. Let's keep those love bombs going in the week of Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful week. No matter what you're going through in life, if you're able to see another day, that is another blessing. That is something to be thankful for and thank the man upstairs for. And just being able to see another holiday week, as we can't take that stuff for granted. We need to really cherish every one of them, especially if we have kids who are young, or even if we have kids who are damn near grown. Cherish every holiday, cherish every moment, because we never know. And just the craziness of this world can drive you nuts. But if you just look around you and see what is important, and see the people who mean most to you in your life, and the people who need you the most, embrace them and love them dearly. And I sincerely love my Black and Gold fam. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the love bomb for the love bombs. Adrian, Crystal, Carisha, Chantel, Nikita, Doug, Sean, David. These are my people. These are my brothers. These are my sisters. I love them so much. I love them dearly. Shout outs to everybody. Heather, Rob. Happy Thanksgiving to every last one of you guys. For real. Vernon, Janice, Gerard. Happy Thanksgiving. Be with your families. And just show love. Show love. Show love, and just be thankful for the blessings and the gifts that God has provided you. Again, I'm not trying to preach to anybody. because that's not what I do, like I said last week. But, when I think about things in the grand scheme of things, life in the grand scheme of things, if we're still here in this crazy, vengeful world or country that we are living in now, and I'm going to get to that in a second. When you look at all of that stuff in its totality, but you're able to look to your left or look to your right and see somebody who you love deeply and who deeply loves you. I don't care if it's a spouse, a significant other, if it's a child, if it's an animal. Just love them and cherish them. And again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And I'm saying happy Thanksgiving because there's some things that I really want to get off my chest. So I wanted to give my shout out and spread my positive message first. In regards to what's been going on over the last couple of weeks, in regards to life and instead of sports, I'm going to start it off this way. It's crazy. I said this before. I said this when the riots happened at the Capitol building, and I'm going to have Tony on here later on to talk about this. But I said this with the riots at the Capitol building. America's back, baby. And, now we've had these trials going on, the trial in the case of Ahmaud Arbery and the trial that just got concluded with Kyle Rittenhouse. If you don't remember, Kyle Rittenhouse was the 17-year-old who shot and killed a couple of people during the Kenosha, Wisconsin riots after the shooting of Jacob Blake. And if I'm not mistaken, he bought a firearm across state lines, because if I'm not mistaken, he was in Illinois, and he was in jail the whole time going through the trial and everything. Well, he was just found innocent. I don't understand how you're found innocent when you obviously kill somebody, but they were saying self-defense. And I don't know what exactly happened. Nobody does, except for the people who were out there that night. I don't, maybe it was self-defense. Maybe when he was out there in the riots in Kenosha that he had the fear of God in him when people came attacking him. But here's my question, sir, young man. Why would you go out in a situation where it's rioting, it's looting with a firearm, with an AR-15? And first of all, he's underage, but the person here was somebody with him who was of age to have the rifle, and that's who they said the rifle belonged to. Okay, whether that's the truth or whether, you pulled a fast one, that doesn't change the fact of what the hell were you doing out there when these riots were going on. And people are full of emotion, and they're full of emotion, they're full of passion. You got some people who were really believing in what they were fighting for, and then you have some people who are just out there who like to cause trouble. Either way, the bottom line is you came from a whole nother state. You could have simply avoided all of this stuff if you just stayed your little ass in the house. If you stayed in the house and mind your business, you minded your business. And honestly, the thing, it was at a dealership that he was helping out and whatever. Like I said, you may have had the fear of God in you when people attacked you. But again, why were you out there? You knew what was going on. And I'm not saying your intent was to be out there to hurt somebody, which a lot of people will say. He went out there with a gun because he intended to hurt somebody. That may be true. That may be false. I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. But the bottom line is you shouldn't have been out there in the first place. You shouldn't have been out there in the first place. And now the flip side of that is that, look, people could refute me saying it or whatever. If Kyle Rittenhouse was black, my mans would have never made it to see a fair trial. If you're black and you're a teenager and you're walking around with an AR-15 in a riot situation, you really think you're making it to a trial? So there's a lot of people who are hurt by the system. But honestly, you can't be surprised with this verdict because we've had a broken judicial system since the beginning of time. The problem is the powers that be or the forefathers think that it's right because really the judicial system is set up to benefit only one group of people. People may want to hear that. People may not want to hear that, but it's the truth. And it's reared its ugly heads for centuries. This judicial system and the United States of America is set up to benefit one group of people. Liberty and justice for all never was supposed to be for a person of my ethnicity and my skin tone. It's just the truth. Like I said, if you pay attention to everything that goes on, or even the true history of this country, if you can't handle it, it can fuck you up. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm going to call a spade, because as a black man, one of the things about being woke, if you will, is that when you realize the true nature of this beast that is the United States of America, and I'm not trying to, some people say, well, you sound like a communist. No, I'm not a communist. I'm a realist. And that's the problem. That's the problem with a lot of people who don't want to hear the real truth. And again, the real truth is when you find out the true nature of this beast and what it was really built on, if you're a person of color, it can definitely screw you up. Because, while I'm not one for wanting to hear a bunch of excuses for why, the black man's being kept down and this, that, and the third, because, black people continue to disappoint in the black community itself. And when I say that, I'm talking about the murder of the rapper Young Dolph. Once again, we make it easy for these motherfuckers out here because we sit there and do stupid stuff. I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm not one for making excuses of saying, you just can't say it's the system. Well, I'm not going to just say it's the system, but we have to understand that the system was built in place for us to have to, and when I say us, I'm talking about minorities, to have to go above and beyond to succeed, as opposed to the actual race, ethnic group that this system was built for. You don't have to do quite as much as, well, I'm not going to say you don't have to do quite as much, but it's not as strenuous. And there are a lot of people out there who are of Caucasian descent who have really had to bust their ass and, really truly pound the pavement, to get, to a successful place in life. And I don't knock that. But what I'm saying is we have to do it 10 times as hard. We have to do it 10 times as hard. And why do you think it's seen as such a success story when you have that black male or female who's made it out of the ghetto and has made it to do big things in life? Because they were born into a situation, a circumstance, a background that will take away all of your hope. Why do you think a movie about Venus and Serena Williams' father is coming out or is already out? Why do you think that? Because when you hear about successful minority individuals that come from the ghetto, that's seen as a triumphant story because it wasn't supposed to happen for them. Serena and Venus, they're from Compton, or you watch the movie Straight Outta Compton. You got 5 rappers who are in a concrete jungle. That's not supposed to happen for them. So and it just doesn't have to be in the streets of California. It could be in a concrete jungle anywhere in these 50 states, because the reason, like my man Tony said a long time ago, the reason why the police exist is to keep the black folks in line. You essentially trade away the sheets and for the badge, which is why this Ahmaud Arbery stuff pisses me off so much, because you're literally looking at a court case where you literally have the defense attorney saying, we need a jury full of bubbas. What is that? Brunswick, Georgia is showing you its true colors. And this whole stand your ground law, or being able to make a citizen's arrest, that's another law that does not apply to black people whatsoever. What black person have you ever known in your life to make a citizen's arrest on anybody? What black people living in a neighborhood would ever feel comfortable enough to sit there and see a white person or anybody else, any other ethnic background, and say, hey, I don't think you belong here. I'm going to make a citizen's arrest. Man, please, we feel that every day. If we're black and we live in the suburbs, that will be done to us, because you could be somebody else looking at a black man saying, hey, I don't think you belong here. I'm going to make a citizen's arrest. That law has always been bullshit, because it is simply a law made so that Caucasian individuals can monitor what a black person is doing. In the 1800s, if you were a black man in the state of Georgia and a group of white people saw you walking around, saw a black man walking around, the first thing they were going to assume is that was a runaway slave, and they had just cause to take action. What happened to Ahmaud Arbery was nothing different. And for these people to actually sit there and try to make it seem like what they did was justified is fucking sickening. The Sun literally sat up there and said Ahmaud Arbery posed no threat. So to me, case closed. Then why did you kill him? Well, I felt if he got the gun, he was going to shoot me. Why do you have a gun at him in the first place? You're talking about a scared 26-year-old man who was in fear for his life because he was literally being hunted down by a couple of racist ass people, and then a third person who they just happen to see. They're chasing a black guy. Let me film this. Fuck out of here, man. Come on, man. The whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing is, it's really hurt a lot of people. This Ahmaud Arbery thing is totally different. This right here, like, I don't get it. And then you ask to have Reverend Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton removed from the courtroom because you feel that it's intimidating. Really? Really? I mean, the lack of respect for what happened is gone above and beyond. It's gone above and beyond belief. You know that they actually stopped this case because the goddamn defense attorney had to go to a wedding. We're talking about a civil rights murder case, and the whole case got stopped because somebody had to go to a wedding. Are you serious? This is America, baby. This is America. As much as people might not want to hear it, it's the truth. This is America. Just like Childish Gambino said. This is what it is. And we always talk about change. When is change going to come? When is change going to come? You have enough people out there in high enough positions of power to make sure that if there is going to be change, we ain't going to see it in our lifetime, and it's going to be very difficult to make it happen. Trust me, if you know me, you know I am not a racist, but I am a realist. I'm a realist, and I have to be a realist because I am a black man, and I do have a black son that I hope won't run into the same situation that people before me has had to go through, that has reared its ugly head, that should have been over with 70 years ago. But I mean, hell, my father could have said the same thing about me 35 years ago or even 25 years ago. My father could have said the same thing about me. My grandfather could have said the same thing about him. And that's sad that you have generations of black families are saying, we got to watch out because we know it's difficult for us because of the color of our skin. Now, on another note, this is what pisses me off about my community, is because we get so much energy and we get so emotional when somebody outside of the black community does something messed up to one of us, but we kind of mums almost the word when we do it to ourselves. Hence the killing of young Dolph. I mean, are you a Memphis rapper in a cookie shop, and two dudes come in there and just spray it up, killing him? Man, that ain't shit. That's ridiculous. How can we sit here and scream Black Lives Matter when on too many occasions black lives don't even matter to black people? How can we do that? How? I mean, it makes no sense. Don't just show a bunch of energy and aggression when somebody outside of the black community does something messed up. You need to have that same energy when one of us are offing each other. We making it easy for these motherfuckers. And they know that. Because we're doing half of the work for them. Let's put a liquor store on every other corner. Let's put a gun store on every other corner. Let's load these urban areas up with drugs that are coming from other countries. And they'll, not only can we arrest them, they'll take each other out. I mean, for real. We making it so easy. I said this a couple years ago when Nipsey Hussle got killed. I don't want to hear people screaming Black Lives Matter when Black lives ain't mattering enough to black people. For real. It's just the most contradictive ass shit that I've ever seen before. And over what? Over jealousy? Over envy? Labusi said it best. You know, if you make it to a place of fame and fortune, you can't live in your own community. You won't be able to live or survive in your own community because people closest to you, they hate on you. Where was Young Dolph at? Memphis. Where's he from? Memphis. Where did he make his fame and fortune? Memphis. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just really, really ridiculous. Man, bro, I can't even go get some damn cookies, man. Cookies. Okay, well, we're going to get into this topic later. We'll get into, everything that I just spoke about when I have Tony on the phone. But to transition over to the world of sports, jam-packed weekend of sports. So, without further ado, let's get to it. You already know when you hear that bell, you know what it is. I'm going to start off by talking about the welterweight super fight that happened on Saturday night between Terence Bud Crawford and Showtime Shawn Porter. And I don't think this has nearly gotten enough attention in regards to the sports world and the talking heads that are out there at all of these major networks. But this was a huge fight. This fight was a big deal. This was the biggest fight that could be made in the welterweight division, really the biggest fight that could be made in boxing. You're talking about pound for pound great Terence Bud Crawford, who a lot of people believe is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. I believe that. I think that he's better than Canelo. Against Showtime Shawn Porter, a very dangerous welterweight, and he's that welterweight in the generation who has fought everybody. If you're a boxing fan, you always had that one guy who fought everybody. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost. But he stayed at the top of the sport because of, one, his willingness to fight everybody and the fact that he takes people through life and death struggles. Shawn Porter has fought Errol Spence. Shawn Porter fought Ugas. He's fought Garcia. He's fought Keith Thurman. He fought Adrian Broner. All of the notable names in the past decade in the welterweight division, Showtime Shawn Porter has been in the ring. Now they fought each other Saturday night, and I was wondering, conventional logic was saying, okay, Terence Crawford. But the way that Shawn Porter fights, I was like, this could be a serious problem because Porter's ultra aggressive. He pretty much plays football in the ring. Now, the fight was great. It was absolutely great. And as you saw, Shawn Porter was fighting with his aggressive style. He was patient and aggressive. He was more patient, but still aggressive. And it was a nip and tuck fight. I mean, literally, you could say, hey, Bud Crawford won this round. And then the very next round, you're like, well, that's Shawn Porter. And then the next round, that's Terence Crawford. And the next round, that's Shawn Porter. But as I was watching the fight with Eddie and my cousin Molly, one thing about Shawn Porter is, he's so ultra aggressive that sometimes can come back and bite him in the butt late in the fight, particularly if some fatigue starts to set in. And I said this at around round 3. I said, it's going to be interesting rounds 9 through 12. Will Bud be able to catch him while Shawn Porter is in the rage of aggression? And sure enough, in the 10th round, and I believe Shawn Porter was winning the fight. In the 10th round, Bud caught him with a counter, dropped him. Didn't really hurt him. It just dropped him. Then Shawn Porter got back up, started coming at him again. Bud caught him with a nice flush right hand, and it dropped him again. But even still, Shawn Porter, you could tell he wasn't hurt. He wasn't dazed. He wasn't wobbly. His legs didn't do any spaghetti dances. He started banging the canvas, Michael B. Jordan style on Creed 2. I'm like, okay, all right, it's about to go down because now he knows he needs to at least drop him, to come out with a draw now since you've had 2 knockdowns in 1 round. This is round 10. So Shawn Porter gets up, he's screaming, fuck! And the referee says, can you continue? He said, yes! Then next thing you know, his trainer and his father, Ken Porter, comes on the apron and stops the fight, comes on the ring mat and stops the damn fight. And we're like, what are you doing? So it goes down as a 10th round TKO for Terence Bud Crawford, who remains undefeated, now 38-0, and he's a bad dude. He is a bad brother. This man don't play no games, Bud Crawford. All praises and all shout-outs. The only thing I will say is that stop was bogus. You know, that stoppage was bogus, and that had nothing to do with Bud Crawford, nothing to do with the referee. Ken Porter, Shawn Porter's father, made a terrible decision. And then on top of that, what made it even worse, because this was a great fight. What made it even worse is when they interviewed him and asked him, why did you stop the fight? He said, well, I never liked my son's preparation for this fight anyway.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
What? Are you joking? And he said that it was going to get a whole lot uglier. Man, let me tell you something. If it was going to get a whole lot uglier and your son was going to go out like a G, go out on his shield like the fighter that he is, damn it, I wanted to see that. And the rest of the boxing world wanted to see that. And like I said, on top of that, what made it worse is that publicly you dragged your son. He's standing right next to you. And you basically, you crapped on him in a fight that a lot of people, not just me, but a lot of people thought he was winning. Andre Ward had him winning on his scorecards coming into the 10th round. And I looked on Twitter and I looked at all the celebrities that were commenting on what Ken Porter said about his son, and they're like, what were you watching? We thought Shawn Porter looked great, as did I. What's wrong with you?
You niggas are crazy!
Eddie swore up and down that Ken Porter had money on Terence Crawford. That's why he did that, which I found to be kind of funny. But I mean, it was just, you know, if you watch any documentaries about Shawn Porter and his dad or whatever, and you love to see a father-son relationship like that, and the fact that he has so much respect for his father and he really values his father's opinion in regards to his career and his life. But dog, your daddy would be fired today. Now, I know ultimately in the press conference, Shawn Porter came out and said that he was going to retire, that the plan was to always retire after that fight, win, lose, or draw. You really couldn't tell that, because when they did the interview with Shawn Porter said, hey man, I'd love to fight him again. You know, and that could be because he was in his feelings. He was mad the fight got stopped. He was mad at himself for getting caught. Do I believe Shawn Porter is going to fight again? Yes, I do. Now, I respect what he said about not wanting to be one of those fighters who's a stepping stone fighter or a bridge fighter. I definitely get that. I respect that. But do I think if the price is right, would he get back in the ring? And he referenced Andre Ward, you know, but the difference is when Andre Ward retired, he was pound for pound the best in boxing. And he made a comment saying that somebody had came up to Andre Ward talking about a possibility of a fight with Canelo Alvarez, which I would love to see, because I think Andre Ward would beat Canelo even now. He said that somebody came up to Andre Ward saying, hey man, you know you got one more left in you. And Andre Ward said, yeah, why can't I just have one more left in me? And that's deep, and I understand that. But I think, you know, the emotion of this fight, and I also think that Shawn Porter, honestly, his feelings had to be crushed. That his father, somebody that he looks up to, and really put, you know, he put his career in his father's hands, and that had to hurt his feelings to hear his father say on national television, you weren't ready to fight. And we're in the 10th round of a championship fight, which he could very well be winning. That would have really rubbed me the wrong way. So Shawn Porter, if you do decide to fight again, and I hope you do, if the situation is right. If not, I definitely understand. But if you do decide to fight again, sorry, dude, Ken Porter would not be in my corner. Not after no crap like that. No, it's bad enough that you stopped the damn fight for no reason. I mean, he wasn't hurt. He was angry. I was ready. I was ready to see the all-out war, the all-out confrontation, because now you had a desperate fighter who had all of his faculties, but he was a desperate fighter because he knew now he was behind on points. I wanted to see that war unfold. So you robbed us of that. Then you dragged your son on national television. Ken Porter, you, in that moment, were a complete jackass.
Bye, bitch.
And you didn't just rob boxing fans, you robbed your son. And like I said, this was a great fight. It was everything that I thought it was going to be, and I understand why I was so hyped for it. It was everything that I thought it was going to be. And then the daddy come in and screw it up. Like, really, good job. Good job. But again, all praises and credit to Terence Crawford. You know, he, again, to me, proved that he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. So now ask the question, what's next? What is next for Bud Crawford? Well, as boxing fans, we all know what we want to see. It's the fight we've been looking to see for the last 3 years, and that is Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. For whatever reasons, that has not materialized. Me personally, I think Errol Spence has done a good job of ducking Terence Crawford, or Al Heyman has done a good job of ducking for him. But I look at it like this. If Al Heyman and Bob Arum can get together to make this fight, because Sean Porter is an Al Heyman fighter, Terence Crawford is a Bob Arum fighter. If they could get together to do that joint pay-per-view, then Crawford versus Spence has to be on the horizon. I would say hopefully sometime in spring of 2022, maybe April, maybe May of 2022. And Errol Spence needs to do a better job of keeping himself healthy. Now, freak accident with a torn muscle in his eye right before the Manny Pacquiao fight. So, you know, okay, not holding that against him. Shit happens now. And the car accident, you just have to make better judgments and better decisions, because we want to see you healthy. Because one thing that boxing fans, diehard boxing fans such as myself, has increasingly gotten sick and tired of is the potential super fight that needs to happen, but unfortunately never happens. And that has already happened with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. That super fight should have happened 2 years ago before Tyson Fury was ever in the damn picture. Now that's all blown up to hell. And even if it does eventually happen, it will never make the amount of money or have the amount of hype that it would have had in 2018 when these two guys were undefeated heavyweight champions of the world. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. could be possibly taking that same route. You see how long we had to wait for Pacquiao versus Mayweather, and we ended up waiting 5 years for a horrible fight. I do not believe a fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. will be horrible, but it needs to happen. It definitely needs to happen, because one thing that is certain, time waits for no one. This is a fight that should have happened in 2018. Terence Crawford is now 34 years old. Errol Spence is now 31. And Errol Spence was at the fight and kind of gave a condescending eye roll when the fight was stopped. You know, Errol Spence kind of comes across as a little cocky little son bitch. But I guess in the world of boxing, where, you know, you're not on a team, as, you know, per se, you're not competing with other people by your side, you know, on the field of play with you, you're in the ring by yourself. So that self-confidence, that self-swag is not necessarily a bad thing. But again, I need to see you get your black ass in that ring and fight Bud Crawford, who clearly is not running, who clearly is not ducking you or anybody else on the planet Earth. We need to see that next year. That needs to be your next fight. Now, I understand Errol Spence, I guess, has a mandatory title defense. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but I don't even want to see that. I want to see the next time Errol Spence gets in the ring, I want to see it be against Terence Bud Crawford. Not no mandatory challenger or anything like that. Not even Ugas. Okay, I want to see him fight Terence M.F.ing Crawford next. Now, something is telling me it will probably be Ugas, the next person that Errol Spence Jr. fights, but really, this is a fight that boxing needs to see. Maybe that's the reason why it wasn't promoted the way I thought a fight of this magnitude between Crawford and Porter should have been promoted, because it honestly was the best fight in boxing. That Canelo fight against Plant, okay, glad I didn't order it. So again, stop playing games, stop playing with our emotions, Bob Arum and Al Heyman. If you got together to make this fight happen, which was a damn good fight, and I'm sure you made a lot of money, you can do it and make an exceptional amount of money between two undefeated champions in their prime, and everybody wants to see it. Okay, stop messing around and make this damn fight happen. Long enough. This is why UFC continues to trump, no pun intended, trump boxing, because they make the fights that need to happen. The best fight the best in the UFC. I want to see it in boxing. They had a couple of good years. 2017 was a great year. 2018 was a great year. 2019 was a pretty good year, but it needs to happen next fight. Now, on to the N for the L. And what did we learn through this past week of football in regards to the 2021 NFL season? What exactly did we learn? We learned that we don't know a damn thing. Every time we think we have it figured out, every time we think we say, okay, this is the team that's really setting itself apart from everybody else, we know nothing whatsoever. This has been a crazy, nutty football season, and it's a couple of teams that have really caught my eye. I'll get to that in a second. First, I want to talk about these scores, a quick recap. Starting with the Thursday night game, the New England Patriots shut out the Atlanta Falcons 25-0. I told you guys this a month ago. I said, watch the Patriots, and I really mean that. The way things are starting to set up right now, do not be surprised to see the New England Patriots playing in February at SoFi Stadium, because it's real. What I'm seeing from the Patriots this year is what I saw from them 20 years ago when Tom Brady was in his first real season as a starting quarterback. Good defense, running game, situational football. You know, then this is why I couldn't take any onus with the Falcons, with the Cowboys' victory over the Falcons last week. The Falcons stink. I mean, they're not a good team. And the Patriots defense is real. So they won 25-0. On the Sunday's game, Colts and the Bills. I called Tony the other day. We weren't on wax, but I called him. We were just talking, and I told him, I said, yo, man, I said, I know we both picked the Bills to win this game. I said, but I've got to put the Buffalo Bills on upset alert. I said, something's telling me that they could lose this game. And while my prediction on the show was wrong, our prediction on the show was wrong, the upset alert was absolutely accurate as the Colts beat the crap out of the Buffalo Bills 41-17. And what's crazy is Carson Wentz had 107 yards. You know why? Because sudden MVP sneaky candidate Jonathan Taylor, running back out of Wisconsin, second year, had 5 touchdowns. If you had him on your fantasy team, cha-ching, bitch, cha-ching. He looked great. That defense looked great, and I picked their defense on a couple of my FanDuel games because I just had a gut feeling about it. They ain't win no kind of money, but you know, it is what it is. Next game, the Baltimore Ravens against the Chicago Bears. Lamar Jackson was a surprise scratch from the game because of an illness, non-COVID related. Like what you got, herpes or something? But either way, Lamar Jackson did not play. The game was in Soldier Field, so I was like, oh wow, this is another game where it could be upset alert. But rookie quarterback Tyler Huntley led a last-minute drive over the Chicago Bears, who, by the way, Justin Fields got hurt, and Andy Dalton had to come in, and he threw a touchdown pass, which you thought, hey, this is going to be the game winner. But the Ravens, let me tell you, the Ravens amaze me this season. They are a patchwork, Band-Aid, and duct tape put-together team, but they keep finding ways to win. They defeat the Bears 16-13. The Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions. Look, man. Oh, man, I kind of feel bad for Baker Mayfield because his body is really falling apart. He is really risking his body long-term for the sake of a contract that he might not even get from the Cleveland Browns. However, they beat the winless Detroit Lions 13-10. Yeah. The upset of the day, maybe the upset of the season, the 1-8 Houston Texans went into 8-2 Tennessee, who had won 6 straight games, beating all teams that were in the playoffs, and pulled the upset. Tyrod Taylor ran for 2 touchdowns. Is Hampton in the motherfucking house? And I was very happy for Tyrod because this was only really his 4th start of the season, but he only played in about 3 1/4 worth of games, and he runs that offense very well with Houston. Now I know they're 1-8. Well, now they're 2-8. They're not going to the playoffs or anything like that, but I do think they will be a tough out for the rest of the season for any opponent. As far as Tennessee goes, damn, bruh. Were you looking past Houston, looking to your matchup next week with the Patriots? Like, damn. I mean, okay. I mean, Ryan Tannehill showed why I don't trust the Houston Texans and why the Tennessee Titans, and why I can't have them as a Super Bowl frontrunner. I understand Julio Jones is out. Derrick Henry is out. Probably not getting Derrick Henry back until the playoffs if you get him back at all. A.J. Brown got hurt. I get it. I understand. But injuries are a part of the game, which is why I don't want to hear shit from any Titans fans about injuries. I don't want to hear shit from any Cowboys fans about injuries. I saw Aaron Rodgers a couple of weeks ago go into undefeated Arizona with none of his best weapon. Only weapon he had was Aaron Jones. None of his receivers were there, and they pulled off a victory. So the excuses are for the birds, my G. So Tennessee, wow. 2 of your 3 losses are to the Jets and to the Texans. Really? Anyway, next game. possibly game of the day when it comes to excitements, the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, who for the most part this season has played just good enough to lose, played just good enough to win yesterday, winning 34-31. Yo, Justin Jefferson is a beast. We talk about, well, who's the best receiver from last year's draft class? Is it CeeDee Lamb? Is it Justin Jefferson? Is it Jerry Jeudy? We know what happened with Henry Ruggs. Unfortunately, I have to say it's Jefferson hands down. That dude is a monster. Minnesota 5-5, Jekyll and Hyde team. Minnesota has been in the lead in every single game they played this season. They've had a touchdown lead in every single game that they have played this season, but they are 5-5. But right now they are trending in a northern direction. So is the next team I'm about to mention, the Miami Dolphins. I told you guys, I told Tony, as laughable as it may have sounded, watch out for the Dolphins. Their schedule is very favorable. They took care of business yesterday at New York, beating the Jets 24-17. I'm telling you, the Dolphins are 4-7. Their schedule is very favorable. Watch out for them. Hey, I was right about the Patriots. I was right about the Colts. Watch these motherfuckers. And speaking of another team that is treading in the northern direction, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia motherfucking Eagles. Why do I have the sense of beep on? I don't know, but what I do know is that since Nick Sirianni had that Dumbo-like press conference where he was talking about seeds and watering the plants and throwing dirt on it and worms because Eagles eat worms and all that other stuff, the Eagles have responded. They have won 3 of their last 4 games. Jalen Hurts, to me, is a franchise quarterback. Look, he might not throw for a ton of yards, but the dude gets you total yards, okay? He had a just sensational touchdown run. He had 2 touchdown runs yesterday, and they beat the New Orleans Saints. Are the Saints missing Jameis Winston? I think they are. The Saints have blown a golden opportunity where they could have been sitting in first place in the NFC South. Now the playoffs look like they are a serious question mark. You know why? Because they have former Bronco Trevor Siemian as their quarterback. Do you know why he is their quarterback? Because 1, you didn't go get Cam Newton when you had the chance, and 2, that's all you got, because Taysom Hill is not an NFL starting quarterback, period. Now, you might end up going to him once you realize what the hell else do you have to lose, but the Saints have lost every game since Jameis Winston went down and you beat Tampa Bay. Now they're 5-5. The Eagles are 5-6. The Vikings are 5-5. This is going to be very interesting with this last wild card spot because, again, don't look now. Here come the Eagles. Don't look now. Here come the Vikings. Here come now. Don't look now. Here comes, I ain't going to say here comes Washington yet. Not yet. But they did ruin the homecoming of Cam Newton. I said that there was no way the Panthers lose that game. All the emotion, it was going to be a college-like atmosphere when Cam came back to Carolina as the undisputed starting quarterback. And Cam played well. Don't get it twisted. He played well. Taylor Heineke played better. Washington has won their last couple of games. Now, look, don't think that I see them as any threat to win the division. But, if anybody won the homecoming, it was Ron Rivera. Don't forget, he was the coach when the Panthers went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, losing to my Denver Broncos. Just thought I would throw that in anyway. But the next game, please. Oh, yeah, again, in the NFC, don't look now. Here comes the San Francisco 49ers. They laid the smackdown on Jacksonville the way they were supposed to. But remember, I have been unapologetically ruthless when it comes to Kyle Shanahan because he gets a lot of praise, and I don't think he has gotten enough results outside of the 2019 Super Bowl season. I thought that he should be on the hot seat. That seat is starting to cool off some now because the 49ers are now 5-5. They're winning games. They're getting healthy. Deebo Samuel is that dude. George Kittle, when he is healthy, is that dude. If you start getting some consistent production from Brandon Ayuk, you could definitely be back on to something. So watch out. Again, don't look now. Here come the 49ers. In a pretty much, I don't want to say elimination game out in Vegas, the Bengals and the Raiders were both at one point in this season trending in the northern direction, but now have recently was trending in the direction that of hell, the southern direction. And the Cincinnati Bengals went to Vegas and handled their business. I'm telling you, the Raiders did good surviving the Gruden thing, but they have been off their game since the Henry Ruggs situation happened. And the Bengals won 32-13. They're now 6-4. So it's going to, these wild card spots are going to be absolutely bananas. And then in another game, what everybody called the game of the day. Well, everybody was looking forward to this game, and that was between the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Dallas Cowboys. I thought this game would be a shootout. I picked the Chiefs to win. Tony picked the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? They lost. They lost by a score of 19-9. Odd, weird score, because while Dallas's defense held their own, it was the Chiefs' defense that was absolutely sensational. I was watching that game and I was saying to myself, who the hell are these guys and what the hell have they done with this awful Kansas City defense? They applied pressure. Dak Prescott played a horrible game for the second time in 3 weeks. They did not get a touchdown. They managed 3 field goals against a stank-ass Kansas City defense that now all of a sudden is looking like, gee whiz, they may have turned the corner. So, I mean, Patrick Mahomes wasn't great. You know what I mean? He was okay. Now, I will say this. They had a couple of turnovers. Some of these Chiefs receivers need to learn how to catch the damn ball. Even Kelsey. I mean, Patrick Mahomes hit him with a perfect pass right between the 8 and the 7, and he drops in it. I mean, he bobbles it, and it goes into the hands of one of the Cowboys defenders. But be that as it may, what we were wondering is, what could Kansas City's awful defense do against Dallas's awesome offense? They shut them down. Okay, so I don't want to, I didn't get on Facebook or anything else like that, bloviated. How about them Cowboys? I mean, because look, to me, it's business as usual. Dak Prescott feasts on bottom-feeding teams. It is what it is. And when this level of competition rises up, his production goes down. I mean, it's what I've seen from him over the last 3 seasons. So, I mean, I can't unsee what I've seen when it comes to when the Cowboys take a step up in competition. Everybody wants to anoint them. Hey, yeah, they may be the best team in the NFC. Bullshit. Because I believe the best team in the NFC played yesterday in Seattle, and that is the Arizona Cardinals, who again didn't have Kyler Murray, but they managed to win with Colt McCoy as their quarterback. They won 23-13. Bro, I think Seattle's season is done. I think that's a wrap. I was wrong about them. I had them making the playoffs, and I may have been wrong about the 49ers, but the wild card thing is tricky. But the Cardinals improved to a league best now 9-2, and the funnest game of the night was in SoFi Stadium in LA as the Los Angeles Chargers outlasted the Pittsburgh Steelers 41-37. Justin Herbert was absolutely sensational despite all of the attempts of the Chargers team to give that game away as they were down 17 in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh made a furious rally, but a 53-yard touchdown pass to Mike Williams with under 2 minutes to go proved to be the difference. And the Chargers, they've been Jekyll and Hyde as well. They're now 6-4. They're in a wild card spot. This is going to be crazy because who the hell is the best team in football? We don't know. I would probably, the team in the NFC that I would have to say is the best is the Arizona Cardinals because they're showing resilience. They haven't had Kyler Murray for the last 3 games, and they've won 2 of them. They haven't had DeAndre Hopkins for the last 3 games, and they've won 2 of them. Both games on the road. How about that? And when it comes to the AFC, the team that I'm amazed with is the Baltimore Ravens because, like I said earlier, they are a patchwork, duct tape, Band-Aid squad, but they find ways to win. But look out, because the way things are stacking up right now, the New England Patriots is a familiar sight, and it's got to be a familiar feeling if you're Patriot fans. We might have wanted to bury Bill Belichick and put the nail in the coffin when Tom Brady went to Tampa and went to and won the Super Bowl last season. But Bill Belichick is coming back and saying, hold my beer, watch my nuts, because I'm still the man, the greatest coach ever. Okay? I can't deny that. I can't deny that. I mean, because Baltimore, New England, if Kansas City's defense is indeed turned the corner by coming with a whole nother defensive scheme, I think you got your 3 top teams right there. I can't put any faith in Tennessee, really. You lose 2 games to the Jets and Jacksonville. And like I said, I understand the injuries that are happening. But you still have to take care of business when you're supposed to take care of business. Houston had no business beating you. I don't care if it's a division game or not. And with that being said, y'all know what time it is. It's Monday. My boy Tony, we ready to do this thing, talk about these issues. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's up?
All right, so I was just talking about just doing a wrap-up. I started with the fight that happened Saturday, but now I moved to a wrap-up of the week of football. So what did Week 11 do for you?
Well, Week 11, I said that Mike McCarthy would end up costing us at some point. Well, yesterday was that day. I think on the road against a certain team like KC is not the time you want to make offensive line changes, and that showed by Chris Jones having a day.
Chris Jones is looking like Reggie White out there.
Yeah, and those long development, you want to run the ball, you know what I'm saying, but those long developing pass plays, especially if you missing a wide receiver, your main guy, yeah, you don't really want to do that. So coaching kind of, showed its face. On the flip side, our D in the beginning looked a little but then they tightened up. So I can't put that game on them at all. Because they kept us in the game. They stalled.
And Michael Parsons is a beast.
Yeah, they stalled Casey on like 5 straight drives, and you can't get no points up out of that. So
yeah, because I really thought that KC was going to throw 30 up on you the way the direction that game was going. But give you D credit. KC kicked themselves in the butt a couple of times, but Michael Parsons is a beast. I can't even front.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with what he said in the sense that he's a linebacker. I mean, he'd rather be a chess piece that's movable than a one trick guy. And he joined your boy. Only 2 guys in 10 games to get that many sacks and that many tackles for losses.
Oh, Von Miller
in their rookie year.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, he's special. I can't even front. He is special. But your $75 million man dropped the ball, too, in regards to that. Now, I know he had some drop passes and everything, but he overthrew. And, of course, the bad clock management, that interception at the end of the half where CeeDee Lamb ended up getting hurt, that was simply an underthrown ball.
Yeah, it was. It was. He underthrew that when he underthrew the second play of the game or the first play of the game?
The first play of the game, the Gallup, yeah.
That might have been a touchdown.
If not a touchdown, it would have been a big play. I mean, because safety was there, but if the ball is thrown in stride, at no less you're in Kansas City territory.
Yeah, you gotta make them throws there. Gotta make them throws, Dak. So it is what it is. I still think we're in good shape. I mean, we can get Tyron Smith back Thursday for sure, and Stephen Jones is talking as if CD's okay. So they fast tracking his concussion protocol because it's a short week.
Well, and you weren't having Amari Cooper anyway for this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's unvaccinated. I mean, that's his choice. But how I feel about what professional athletes should do about the vaccine. By the way, got my booster shot today. Whoop whoop.
Congratulations. Yeah, he could have. The thing about it is, people point out, well, yeah, but you still can test positive. Yeah, but the unvaccinated, when you test positive, you got to go through the extra protocols, and you likely gonna miss 2 games.
Right,
vaccinated
exactly.
are only gonna miss a singular game because what was Aaron Rodgers out 3 days?
Pretty much.
Immunized. That I don't quite understand because he actually should have missed the 2 games. But,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, Aaron, I don't know what does he have pictures or some incriminating photos on Roger Goodell or somebody like that? Because they really bitched up when it came to the way they have dealt with Aaron Rodgers. But be that as it may, I know I heard a couple of people this morning that are quite pissed off at Amari Cooper. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, he could have tested positive and been vaccinated, but he likely would have only missed the 1 game, even though there are some unvaxxed that only missed the 1 game, so I don't know what kind of protocol they're doing. But it is what it is.
Okay, so I figured you were going to start off with the Cowboys. I mean, now as far as the rest of the games, we really didn't pick much of anything right. I mean, I know with the Cowboys game, I picked the Chiefs, you picked the Cowboys. I think, who did you pick for the Packers and the Vikings? Did you pick the Vikings?
The Vikings.
I thought you did, yes. I picked the Packers, you picked the Vikings. And I texted you yesterday, what did I tell you about the upset alert that we talked about on the phone?
Well, if you go back and listen to it, I said the only reason why I'm picking the Bills was because they were in Buffalo. But, that turned out to be had no factor.
None.
The Colts are surging. The Colts are surging.
Yes.
And overall, it was a good day, despite the fact my team lost. It was a good day just in general, in the grand landscape of things, and for them Eagles draft picks, because the Eagles won, the Colts won, Miami won.
Didn't I tell you watch the Dolphins? Didn't I tell you watch Miami? I said watch Miami. Yeah. Their schedule is very favorable. Don't look now. Here comes Philly. I looked at their schedule. I'm saying, well, damn, their schedule is favorable. All of a sudden, here come the 49ers. You know how I've been about Kyle Shanahan. They're surging now. The Vikings are Jekyll and Hyde, but right now they're trending up north. The Patriots, bro, the way this is shaping out, don't be surprised to see the Patriots in SoFi in February.
Wow. Yeah, it's possible because a lot of those teams are definitely coming back to earth, and I think the shocker somewhat may have been the Bears and
the Texans.
Yeah.
Beating the Titans, showing us why we don't believe in Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, well, I mean, you actually covered it. You said Tyrod could be the X factor. In terms of that.
Oh, so, yeah. Because Tyrod actually runs that offense very well. Mind you, this was only Tyrod's fourth start of the year, and he really has only played in about 3 1/4 games, because he got hurt week 2 in the second quarter against Cleveland when he had him out to a 14-0 lead. And so, and coming off of a win the first week of the season. Whatever, he runs that particular offense very, very well. They're 2-8. They ain't going nowhere, but I actually think that the Texans will be a tough out for anybody that they play for the rest of the season, because the most important thing, and I was talking to my uncle about this yesterday, is that these teams with horrible records who are coming out and beating these teams with these great records, they haven't quit on their coach yet. Houston has not quit on Cully. They're still playing hard. Jacksonville, well, we knew Jacksonville wasn't going to be good, but if they were showing improvements, then you could see it as a successful season. The Dolphins have not quit on Flores. Even as crappy as the Lions are playing, and the Browns almost got beat by a dude named Boyle. Oh yeah, you did pick you fell into that trap again. You did pick the Lions to beat Cleveland. I forgot about that.
They gotta win sometime, man.
They're gonna win Thursday against the Bears. But Baker Mayfield looked bad though, man. He did. But what I'm saying is these bad teams have not quit on their coach. They haven't packed it up and just playing it out for a paycheck. They're still playing hard.
You know who else hasn't quit on their coach, surprisingly? And they're going to be dangerous later on. I mean, they didn't win yesterday, but you could see that they're playing.
Carolina?
Now, no, that actually kind of shook out like I thought that it might, even though I figured, Cam would pull some magic out there at the end, but the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. And San Diego. Los Angeles tried every way in the world to lose that damn game. But, yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh is that team that just won't go away. And it's because they don't quit on their coach.
Yeah, I promise you, they're going to play spoiler to somebody.
I mean, so, who do you think is the best team? Well, who do you think is the best team in the AFC right now?
The best team or the best playing team? That's two different questions.
The best. I'm going to say, well, yeah, I understand. That's two different topics, because to me, that's what happened with Tampa last year. They got hot at the right time. Well, okay, both. You can answer both of them.
The best team in the AFC at this moment, I'm gonna say the Patriots. They might be the answer to both right now.
That was my answer to both.
They might be the answer to both. right now. I was gonna split it and say the best team is the Patriots and the best playing is the Chiefs, but the Patriots have played arguably better than the Chiefs. And if I had to pick and the Chiefs had to go to New England, I'm probably gonna take New England. I think it's the Patriots on both.
Yeah, I agree. I said this before we got on the line. I said I think the three best teams in the AFC are the Patriots, Chiefs, and the Ravens. The Ravens amaze me because they're, I said this earlier, they're a patchwork, they're a Band-Aid and duct tape squad, and they keep finding ways to win. So, you know, they just amaze me. But, yeah, I have to say yes. Right now, I think the best team in the AFC is the Patriots. Now, what about the NFC?
That's hard to say. Like, right now, it's hard to say because all these teams have shown to have holes. And that's even, people will say, well, Kyler Murray, and yada, yada, yada. But even with Kyler Murray, the Rams have shown to have holes.
You mean the Cardinals?
The Cardinals. Green Bay obviously got holes. I don't think there is a best team. I just think that come playoff time, it's going to be who got it together the most, and perhaps home field advantage will end up deciding this thing. Because I think that all the top teams, at least the top four teams, can beat each other. After that, it becomes a little sketchy, but the top four teams definitely are pretty much on par with each other. They all got different strengths and different weaknesses. So I can't even pick nobody in the NFC. Records don't mean anything in terms of that. They'll mean something when it comes down to home field advantage, but their current records don't really mean much.
The only reason why I would say the Cardinals is because, you know, you just played 3 straight games without Kyler Murray and you won 2 of them. Both of them on the road. You know, they're for whatever reason, they're just good. You know, they're just good, and they've been the most consistent. I mean, yeah, honestly, they've been the most consistent.
But they've been the most consistent, but they're only 1 game ahead. They're only 1 game ahead, so it's not like the others haven't been consistent. The other teams have dropped the ball in certain situations, but I mean, they dropped the ball 1 less time. So I don't think that they're that much ahead. And if Kyler Murray had to go out, this was a really good time because of the opponents that they're playing. We now know what Seattle is.
Yep.
And so you know.
On the contrary, I think they're starting to quit on their coach.
Yeah. So I don't.
I like the makeup of the Cardinal team because, you know, if they had lost all 3 games without Kyler Murray, could you even really be mad at him? Would you really be able to blame him? I mean, you look at that, and then you look at what you know, in the same time period, you look at the New Orleans Saints. And we all clearly think that Sean Payton's a better coach than Cliff Kingsbury, but they haven't won a game since Jameis got hurt. I mean, remember how I said last week they should be sitting pretty in first place. They keep blowing opportunities. And yesterday, Philly spanked them. And, you know, like I said, in the same time period that Kyler Murray hasn't played, you've had Trevor Siemian playing for New Orleans. One team has gone 2-1, showing resolve. Another team has gone 0-3, and now making the playoffs look like a serious question for the Saints. Because, like I said, don't look now. Here comes Philly. Here comes Minnesota. Here comes San Francisco.
Yeah. They might be coming a little too late, but I mean, we'll see.
I mean, not really, because
well, in the case of the Washington football team, and
I ain't talking about Washington. I ain't talking about Washington. I'm talking about Philly.
Philly got ground to make up. They got a soft schedule.
They're just a half a game behind. That's it.
They're half a game behind who?
Minnesota has the 7th spot. They're 5-5.
You talking about in terms of playoffs? I thought you talking about in terms of division. I was gonna say no.
Oh no. Y'all had the division won 3 weeks ago.
But to be fair, looking at it, if Kirk Cousins doesn't do it, Kirk Cousins things, if he can play relatively mistake free, Minnesota's the better team, so they should take that. Yeah,
Jefferson is a monster.
Yeah, they're a better team. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. It's strange. Philly's strange in the sense that the coach wouldn't run the ball. Now all of a sudden you want to run, and now you this running team.
In Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's so odd. But okay. Whatever works, right?
I mean, because I've been saying this for the last 2 years. Miles Sanders is a damn good running back. Why the hell aren't you using him? So then he gets hurt. Then all of a sudden the light bulb goes in. Oh, okay, let me bring Jordan Howard off the practice squad. I know Boston Scott is pretty good. Now I'm going to start running the ball. Oh, yeah, it's working. Now Miles Sanders is back. He had a great game yesterday, and on top of that, you have a dual-threat quarterback. Oh, it's working. Well, now you're on to something. And like I said, that schedule is very favorable. That's all I'll say. Very favorable.
Well, low-key, I'm rooting for him only because of them worsening draft picks. I don't fear him in terms of playoff team, but I much rather them make the playoff. I mean, have a winning record, make the playoffs. Get that number 13 pick in the draft or 15 pick.
Hey, well, you never know, because 15 pick this past draft was Mac Jones, so you never know.
Yeah, well, but Philly don't draft well, so
no,
they really don't.
No, they don't. I think they've done good with Devontae Smith, though. I think he's all right.
Yeah, but they could have. They better than Jamar Chase. All right, I don't know about that.
But they didn't have. They weren't up that high.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that if Jamar Chase was still on the board when they got there, they'd have picked him over Devontae Smith, because everybody knows that Chase was better than Devontae Smith. He didn't play last year because of COVID. Jalen Waddle is better than Devontae Smith. He got hurt. But I mean, that's not throwing shade at Devontae Smith. He took advantage of his opportunity when it came his way. But I think he's going to be a pretty good receiver. I mean, and he's a damn good route runner. But let's pick these games for the week of Thanksgiving, sir, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about these first Thanksgiving games. Chicago versus Detroit.
Lions. They're gonna get that. They're gonna get that W.
Yeah, I'm going with you on that one too. I'm gonna pick, especially if, well, I mean, I don't know if Fields plays or not.
But you know what though? I'll take that back.
Oh,
Andy Dalton is probably going to start. The Bears are going to win that. Bears should have won yesterday.
Yeah, they should have.
So that having that consistent, that veteran presence at quarterback, I just the Bears gonna win that. I'm gonna stick with the Lions. Damn it! If there's a time for them to win the game, because they're gonna win this game because everybody's watching. Even though that's going to be the game that's just on while everybody's cooking, you're not really going to pay no attention to it. But the Lions are going to win, damn it. The Lions are going to win. In the next game, Vegas at Dallas. I already know who you're picking. Yeah, injuries aside, I don't care who's playing. I think they bounce back. I think Tyron Smith and moving people back to their natural positions on the line will help immensely. So, and I don't expect a lot of them guys to drop the ball, particularly in Dallas. You can blame it on cold, wind, whatever.
Well, they dropped the ball against Denver, and I was in Dallas.
I don't expect that to happen again. So,
okay, well, the Raiders are simply falling apart. I said I can't trust them after Thanksgiving. Well, this season I couldn't trust them past Halloween. They seem to survive the Gruden thing very well, but the Henry Ruggs thing has kind of effed them up. they're falling apart. I have to pick the Cowboys, even though I think Deshaun Jackson is going to have a long touchdown catch in that game. But yes, I have to go with Dallas. The Raiders are who we thought they were. Fraudulent. The night game. Two teams that are heading in the southern direction. Buffalo at New Orleans.
I think the Saints are heading more to the south than the Bills are. The Bills is execution. It's not. The Bills will bounce back.
I too believe that Buffalo will win the game because now the heat is really on. They're not in first place anymore, and they realize they've got to do something, despite the fact that they have two matchups with New England coming up real soon. So I think they're going to get this one out the way.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Well, they got some wagons to circle. So on to Sunday's game. Big AFC North game. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati.
I said what I said about Pittsburgh. I'm taking the Steelers. I would not be surprised if they plug Cincinnati. Cincinnati has not been playing well, and Pittsburgh is trending upward right now. So I'm taking Steelers.
Okay. History would lead me to agree with you. Cincinnati has not been playing well, but they did win yesterday. They did right that ship. I am going to go with the Bengals because while I agree with you that Pittsburgh is going to be dangerous, I mean, for whatever reason, this is that classic game where I could see Pittsburgh winning. Just grit and grind, just pulling this game out. But I'm going to go with the Bengals because I don't know what's going to go on with the Steelers defense. I don't know if TJ Watt is going to play or Minka Fitzpatrick or Joe Hayden. And like I said, the Chargers tried to give that game away. All credit to the Steelers for stepping up to the plate. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals on this one. Next game, Tampa. Ooh, this is good. Tampa at Indianapolis.
The Colts are trending upward.
Yes. Yes.
Jonathan Taylor's going to have a big game.
Man.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts.
You and me both, brother. I'm going with the Colts. Jonathan Taylor should low-key be in the MVP discussion now. Dude is amazing. I understand he's probably going to win the rushing championship because Derrick Henry got hurt. But this guy's no joke. Because think about this. Think about this. The Colts put up 45 points. And this was the trend yesterday, right? The Philadelphia Eagles put up 40 points against the Saints. Jalen Hurts threw for 145 yards. 40 points. The Colts put up 45 points yesterday in Buffalo. Carson Wentz had 107 yards. You get the trend?
Yeah. The trend. Well, the trend is you keep Hurts from hurting your team by keeping the ball out of his hands out the air, and you keep Wentz from doing Wentz things by keeping that ball on the ground.
Well, Hurts ran for 2 touchdowns yesterday, homie. So he kept the ball in his hands. He just didn't fling it in the air all that much.
Well, I said out the air, keeping it out the air with him.
Okay.
You keep it on the ground. Nobody ever questioned whether he could run. That's always the thing with him. But limiting his throws, limit them turnovers, and if they limit the turnovers, you controlling the clock with the run, that equals a W. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm going with the Colts as well. This is a low-key important game. Carolina at Miami. Yeah, that's tough. Because the Dolphins are actually trending upward.
I think I'm gonna take the Fans. I'm gonna take the Fans. Wait a minute. Where are they?
They're in Miami.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Fans.
I'm gonna take Carolina. I said watch out for the Dolphins, and I still believe that, but I don't know. I think Cam and McCaffrey are gonna find a way to pull that off. Because Cam didn't look bad yesterday. It's just honestly Taylor Heineke, not trying to be funny, just played better. And everybody made it out to be a homecoming for Cam, which it was. It was a homecoming for Ron Rivera too now. So,
right.
But I'm gonna take Carolina to win the road game. Tennessee at New England, heavyweight fight.
Well, not so much heavyweight without Henry, so I'm taking the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots too.
Yeah.
Philly at the Giants.
I'm gonna take the Giants. I'm gonna take the Giants.
You know, the Giants have given Philly a lot of problems in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a division game, and as well as Philly been playing as of late, I don't think they're that much better than the Giants. I'm gonna take the Giants.
The Giants have been giving Philly so much problems of late because Carson Wentz was their quarterback. They dealing with Jay Hurts now. I'm taking the Eagles.
Make a difference.
I'm taking the Eagles. I'm taking Philly. ATL at Jacksonville. Because we have to.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna take Atlanta. I'm gonna take Atlanta. I don't feel comfortable taking them, but I'm gonna take Atlanta.
You know what? I don't feel comfortable taking either team, so I'm just going to go on the side of competition. I'm going to take Jacksonville. Why not? Like I said, we picking this game because we have to. The Jets at the Texans because we have to.
The Texans.
I agree with you 100%. They're going to be a tough out for everybody the rest of the season. The Chargers at Denver.
If Herbert brings some of what he had,
man, he was special last night, man. He was special last night.
I'm gonna take them them Superchargers.
You know what? We coming off of a bye week, goddammit. And I should pick the Chargers to win the game. But my loyalty to my team will not allow me to do so. I will go with the Broncos and suffer the consequences. The next game, the Rams at the Packers. Oh, that's a good one. Damn, I'm thinking about, whoa, heavyweight fight.
Yeah, that's a potential playoff matchup.
That's a doozy.
I'm gonna say the Rams got enough to get after Aaron Rodgers. As long as Stafford don't lose in the game, I'm gonna take the Rams.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. I'm gonna take the Rams too. I don't know why, have no reason to, but I'm gonna go with the Rams. Another very good game, Minnesota at San Francisco.
Man, both of them is kind of
trending upwards
a little bit now, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna take San Fran. I'm gonna take San Fran only because you don't know Kirk Cousins week to week. The Vikings in general, you don't know week to week. And Garoppolo, as long as he got a running game, he's an excellent bus driver. So I'm gonna take San Fran.
For the same reason why you said you're gonna take San Fran is the same reason why I'm gonna take Minnesota. While I understand Jimmy Garoppolo can be an excellent bus driver, sometimes you don't know which Garoppolo is gonna show up. And like you said, on paper, like I know on paper, if you like you said earlier, if Kirk Cousins doesn't do Kirk Cousins things, they're a better team than San Francisco. So I'm gonna go with Minnesota. Sunday night game, Cleveland at Baltimore.
Baltimore. I think they left a lot on the field yesterday. Cleveland is too unpredictable. Baltimore, they're a little less unpredictable. They may lose the game. It's either going to be a low-scoring game or Lamar Jackson's going to have a big day, one of the two, but they're always going to be in the game. Cleveland, you don't know. I'll take the Ravens.
I'll take the Ravens, too, and assume that Lamar Jackson will play. And The Monday night game for next week is Seattle at Washington.
Yeah, I was looking at way back when on the schedule and say that's an L for the Washington football team. But Seattle is just I think this is Russ's last hurrah with Seattle. I think he'll be gone next year. That being said, that being said, I'm gonna take Seattle.
I'm going to take Seattle too, but I don't believe Russ will be gone next year. I think Pete Carroll will be gone next year. But I'm going to go with Seattle. So, okay, well, we have our picks now. Sir, I'm going to change the sports topic. LeBron James last night in the Palace. Melee.
I think LeBron James should get suspended. I think he should be suspended too, but I also think the other young man should be suspended for the reaction or overreaction. But and looking at it at multiple angles, overhead angle, everything, that was a closed fist strike. LeBron turned and looked. The elbow, he was not looking. The fist hand part, he turned and was looking dead at the brother when he hit him across the chops. I can't say he has no history with the dude, so I can't say it was because of that or whatever. But we don't know. We don't know whether there was an exchange prior to that or it's verbal, whatever, or they some shoving back and forth that literally just wasn't picked up. But on every replay, just like I feel like Joel Embiid should have got suspended earlier this season, at least one game for hitting Lonzo Ball in the mouth inadvertently. He turned around and swung. What if he connected flush?
Well, LeBron connected flush, and you saw what happened.
He connected flush, blood, everything. I'm sorry, you got to pay for that one because no matter how you look at it, if he never turned and looked at him, then maybe. But the fact that you can see on tape, the moment his elbow connect, LeBron's head is turned, looking at dude dead in his face, and the follow-through came with a closed fist. His hand was open when the elbow connected. He closed his fist and brought it all the way around. Bam. That is what that is. It's contact above the neck. It is what it is. You didn't have to do that. You already had the elbow on the board. You didn't have to follow through.
Well, I actually agree with you 100%. I do think LeBron James should be suspended. Now, the reason why I don't believe he will get suspended and why nobody believes he'll get suspended is because their next game is at Madison Square Garden on national television. The morally right thing to do would be to sit LeBron James's ass down for a game, maybe even two. You're right. When you look at that replay in slow-mo, he knew exactly what the hell he was doing. The whole reaction after he made contact saying, hey, man, I didn't mean to do that, to me, that was just trying to save face. He knew what the hell he was doing. I don't think he thought it was going to get the blood gushing. I don't think he thought that was going to happen, but it was intentional. It was definitely intentional. Now, as far as Isaiah Stewart goes, bro, if you wanted to punch LeBron, he was right there in front of your face. You ain't had to wait until everybody else got around to go nuts. Now, maybe he had delayed reaction once he realized the blood was gushing down his face. But, and that's no knock against him. But I'm like, dude, if you really wanted to do something, he was right there.
Man, let the hockey rule. Let the hockey rule. Just let them go.
Yeah, let them fight.
Yeah, let them go at it. Because some of these other people, these peripheral people, it was a bunch of peripheral people jumping in. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Even when he was trying to run around and this thing, I'm looking at DeAndre Jordan. What are you doing? Like, what you can barely move with a basketball in your hand, let alone, and just stop it.
Russell Westbrook said, I got attacked. What did I do? He was just standing there.
But this was actually and you're right. They probably won't suspend him because a few games ago, in fact, when we were playing, you saw LeBron walk onto the floor when Anthony Davis got that tech.
Yeah. Yep.
He walked onto the floor. That's automatic. You're gone. You're not supposed to leave that bench.
Right.
But yet and still, we heard nothing.
Nothing.
Like, literally, we're crickets. You know. So I don't know, but yeah, you're right. It's and that being said, they're letting the game be a little bit more physical. A little bit more
I have no quarrel with that personally.
It seems like these top end people are the ones that's aggravated the most by it. The middle tier and some of the scrubs, they like it. You know, playground basketball.
Yeah.
They can hold their own a little bit. You know, in some cases, especially defensively, it's the top end people that are hating this newfangled, you know, style of basketball.
AKA James Harden. James Harden.
But LeBron, you know, bruh, yeah.
No, I think it was dirty.
I don't know that would have floated a couple decades ago. I don't know that would have floated.
Well, see, here's my issue. Here's my issue. You know, if LeBron James does indeed, which I think he will, skate with just a fine and no suspension, this will be the second time of note that I can remember that LeBron started some shit, but the other player got suspended for it. Draymond Green in the finals. You know what I'm talking about. LeBron started that whole situation, but somehow, some way, Draymond got suspended and it screwed up the entire finals. I damn near quit on the NBA for that because that was disgusting. But again, I know that dude Isaiah Stewart shouldn't have reacted the way he did as far as all of the histrionics, you know, trucking all his older coaches trying to get at LeBron, and then looking like when he's going into the locker room, looking like he's going to try to meet LeBron at the whatever. Maybe he shouldn't have did all of that. But again, you can't sit here and
but that's on par with the whole Jimmy Butler and what the Heat.
With in Denver, yeah.
So I mean, you know, all that's posturing. You know,
yeah, but I would believe
posturing. Maybe you're right. Maybe it dawned upon him. Maybe he was in shock initially, and then the shock turned to anger.
Yeah. No. Now, see, actually, I would believe that Jimmy Butler would do that. I believe that he would. But like I said, I believe that the shock may have turned into anger too. I mean, but I'm like this because he's gonna get suspended for the way he left the court. That's no doubt about that. But I don't think the guy who started the issue, I don't care how much he tried to apologize. Like you said, if you look at the replay, that shit was on purpose. He knew what the hell he was doing, and he should be suspended for it.
Yeah, I looked at it 5 different ways and said, well, maybe. But again, once that head turns, it's almost simultaneous. His head turns, his open hand turns to a closed fist, and he followed through. He didn't have to follow through.
Do you remember a few years ago in the Eastern Conference playoffs, Cleveland, LeBron was with Cleveland, and they were playing Boston, and J.R. Smith did the same thing to Jay Crowder and totally knocked him to the floor. They suspended J.R. Smith for that. So and that was the playoffs. I think they should do the same thing to LeBron.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's the Knicks coming. I mean, it's the Knicks, but Knicks are not. The Knicks are better than what people expected for now, but, you know, just in general, come on, man. The Spurs been sitting people for years on these marquee matchups, so yeah, it'll be all right. You still got AD. You still got some, you know, some.
Still got AD, power. Russ, Carmelo.
Yeah, you'll be all right. You're right. What if LeBron was still hurt? So no, that's not an excuse. Because if he gets away with it, you're going to see more. Because, again, the physical play is going to continue. They're letting them play. It's going to continue, and then somebody's going to get mad and frustrated, and then somebody else will say, well, what about LeBron? Why I'm getting suspended? So, you know, nip it in the bud, that part, nip it in the bud. The physical play is basketball. Yesterday, that was not basketball.
No.
That was frustration or whatever was on LeBron's mind, but trying to pretend like, oh, well, let me help him up, and it was unintentional. No. Everybody saw it.
Okay, so now to a more serious matter. We talked about this, I want to say, Friday night. Your view, your view again, I want it on wax. What do you view as far as the Kyle Rittenhouse situation goes?
Trash. It's trash being trash. This is why the justice system, all the way down from the beat The beat cop that's strolling the street in New York, all the way up to the Supreme Court, needs to be reformed. I won't get real deep into this. I'll just simply say there's a segment of America, and they're deeply opposed to CRT, critical race theory. And this goes back to the sister who did the 1619 project that said racism was embedded in this country systematically from day one. Well, there were no black people involved in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. However, let's not forget, this all started because of the shooting of an unarmed black man named Jacob Blake. And it brought all the white nationalists out of the woodwork in terms of hailing this kid. But that was the reason why he was there that night, because white nationalists had invited him. Like I said, the judge was biased. The justice system is geared, and you saw that work. Like, if in a nutshell, the way I kind of viewed that trial is they were treating those victims, because I'm going to call them victims, because in every other case, that's what they're called, victims. If you got killed, you got attacked, assaulted, raped, whatever, you're the victim. But the judge instructed the prosecution not to call them victims, but you could call them rioters and looters. So the bias, the fix was already in. You know, that's the reason why they didn't want the trial moved. The fix was already in. And this was in the case of all white people. So you can imagine what's been going on with us, people of color, for years in these courts. It's no different than George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. It literally is no different. This verdict is going to make some of these rednecks shell and bolden.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they're going to do some stupid stuff. But my feeling, it's been this way for a long time. Let them do some stupid stuff. Arm yourself, pull out your gun, blow their brains out. And yes, I'm advocating violence. I'm advocating violence. You know, you can only do so much kumbaya.
Yep.
And at some point, you got to meet them with the same aggression in order to get them to understand this is what the Black Panthers were about. They didn't go out hunting them, but like they do us. But we have the right to defend ourselves, and it's to that point. There's no more kumbaya moment. That's it. That's my take on the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. I think that if there's any justice in the world, you know, he'll get his comeuppance because he murdered people. He's a murderer. He's a murderer. And don't get me to where the jury found him innocent. The jury are 12 people just like you and me. That's it. With opinions.
Okay. What about the people who said? What about the people who are screaming self-defense?
Well, I would love to have seen the judge and the prosecutor from the Ahmaud Arbery trial be the prosecutor in the Kyle Rittenhouse, because she said you can't go out, antagonize someone, threaten someone, and then claim self-defense when they respond to your aggression. So, no, there's no self-defense. There's no these technicalities, and it's funny, these technicalities in the law seem only relevant to the paler people. It only works in their favor. He was a minor with a gun. Oh, well, in the state of Wisconsin, if it's a long gun and it's typically a gun used for hunting, then a minor can have it if it's in the presence of an adult. But he went hunting.
Okay, well,
I don't buy none of that. I fully believe their story. They saw this individual walking down the street with a gun, and he admitted that he pointed the gun at one of the people and made a comment, but he said, "I was joking."
No, you don't joke like that. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit.
Pull my gat, put it in your face, and I tell you a joke.
Exactly. Because wait a minute. Because my thing is that you live in Illinois. You know what's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Why the hell are you even there? Being underage. Why are you even there?
He gave his B because he was trying to go help and yada yada yada.
I don't give a damn. You are a minor.
You said get off the street, go
right,
home.
Right. I don't give a damn who you're trying to help. This is a highly tense, sensitive situation that has turned violent. What the hell are you doing out the house? Where are his parents at? Why the hell would they even let him go if they even knew he went?
She knew. His mother knew. His mother absolutely knew.
Bad parenting skills. Huh, okay. Gotcha. Well, and now he's a free man. How about that? Like I said, this is America, baby. And speaking of which, Ahmaud Arbery, give me your thoughts.
Well, the closing statements for today, I think and it's funny because the defense tried to make the same kind of argument as the Rittenhouse defense made. Almost identical. But the fact of the matter is the prosecutor laid them out. Like, so much so that I read yesterday that one of the defendants tried to get the prosecutor to make a deal. Because they know this is going south. Now, the only thing that can save these people, of course, is that white jury. But everything factually in the case, it should be open and shut. Like, deliberation shouldn't even be a day. It should be open and shut.
It shouldn't be.
Because saying you were participating in the citizen's arrest, well, the law in Georgia says unless you actually witness that person committing a crime, then you don't have that right. It's an archaic law that shouldn't even be on the books anyway. But if you don't witness the crime, then you can't do anything in terms of that. But they didn't witness it. They witnessed him on some property that he shouldn't have been, but they didn't witness it. A neighbor told them, and then they went hunting for this young man. That's what the case has shown. He tried to get away from you at every turn. You pursued him. You tried to ride him down with a truck. You had weapons. What did you think he was supposed to do? So it's an open and shut. This is not a black or white. This is just simply right, wrong, fact, say, case. And that's it.
That jury full of bubbas, that concerns me.
Yeah, well, we don't know that they actually got bubbas. I mean, that was a statement that they said they wanted. We don't know that they got bubbas because a lot of jury is women. So it's bubbettes. But
you caught me off guard with that.
But what I will say is, just like I said with the Kyle Rittenhouse, and I'm only speaking in terms of us people of color, because how they respond, they'll probably sue him, but he's poor white trash, so they ain't gonna get nothing. You know, the families of those gentlemen in the Rittenhouse situation, and the evidence, the bar is much lower in civil court than it is criminal, so they'll likely win, but they're gonna win, millions of dollars of nothing because he poor white trash. In the case of Ahmaud Arbery, that'll come later too, the civil dynamic. Well, actually, they're gonna get his mother, his family, gonna get money. Well, they already did.
Yeah, I was gonna say they already did.
Yeah, from the state of Georgia, from the city, all of that, so there was admission of wrong. They knew it was wrong. Unfortunately, that's not something you can actually use in the criminal case. You can't bring that up, even though jurors should know it if they were living in the world. But as I said, and I said this to you before, there's only one or two solutions. It is funny, the more things change, the more they stay the same. We think, in 2021, things are so different. I challenge all your listeners, go listen to, you pull up on YouTube, Malcolm X, Ballads of the Bullet.
Oh, I've listened to that a few times.
Yeah, and it sounds like something somebody today could say.
And repeat that one more time.
The ballots or the bullet.
That's right.
Malcolm X.
Ballots or the bullet. I listened to that speech after watching Godfather of Harlem, actually. I wanted to hear the real deal, and I listened to it a good 4 or 5 times. It's so relevant today, and that was 60 years ago.
Yeah. And on a lighter note, I'm glad that the brothers were exonerated. We were talking about this.
Yeah.
That was set up. We know who played a part. Malcolm X was the most dangerous man on the planet at one point. I respect Martin Luther King Jr. and all this. He was a great man, great motivator, great speaker. But Malcolm X, had he lived, would have been transcendent for us because he had the ear of the world, not just, some black Americans. He had the ear of the world. United Nations was interested in hearing what this dude had to say.
And explain to the listeners why Malcolm X was considered the most dangerous man in the world.
Well, my opinion, he said it himself, by any means necessary. Malcolm X is willing to go to whatever length, for our rights, and not afraid, not necessarily looking to, he was two different men. When he was with Elijah Muhammad, a lot of his views were that of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. But once he separated and realized that Islam was just not a brown thing, and that there were a lot of people.
Hence the trip to Mecca.
Yeah, and took that trip to Mecca, and Malcolm X just became a different guy. And once they were not able to label him per se as a racist or a black nationalist or anything like that, he already, was on point with the speaking, already on point with being an activist. And like I said, he had the world's ear. So much so that the United Nations was, before he was murdered, he actually was supposed to speak in front of the United Nations, and there were others in the world that were perhaps willing to get behind charging America with crimes against humanity because of the stuff that was going on here with us.
Charges that I think still need to be filed.
Yeah, he was, they're different kinds of men. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Dr. King, but what I do say to rational people, anybody that's rational, if somebody's trying to sick a dog on you, beat you with a billy club, spray you with a water hose, put a gun to your head, anything like that, man, you have the right to respond in kind. The holding hands, marching, that only gets you but so far. At some point, you just gotta, sometimes you gotta lay hands. You gotta let them people get them hands to understand you mean business too. You value your life. And I think that was one of the big differences between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. They had the same goal. They were two sides of the same coin. The only difference is approach.
Yep. Nonviolent versus by any means necessary.
Exactly. And that's it. And that's all. And had they both lived, eventually they would have come together. And that would have been a thing.
Oh my goodness. And that's what the U.S. government was afraid of.
That would have been a thing. If they both had lived and became united under the one banner, fully united under the one. They had conversations. You know how people make it seem like they had this great animosity. At the time, Malcolm X made some of his statements in terms of the pecking Uncle Toms. He was still affiliated with the Nation of Islam, and that was just a general view. And believe it or not, he was accurate. No matter what you think of those men that he was referring to, even if he didn't refer to them by name, he was accurate. He was accurate. because being a pacifist only carries you so far, and turning the other cheek only carries you so far.
That's right.
So he was accurate in that. I don't know about the, I don't know that he was referring to Dr. King and the like, Jesse Jackson, those type of people in terms of the Uncle Tom dynamic, but he was right. He was right, and I think to a lesser degree, Martin Luther King Jr. probably understood that Malcolm was right. But being a minister, he has to teach nonviolence. He has to, unless we plan on going to war, you gotta temper that anger. So,
it's a lot, but I love the knowledge. I love the information because I said this in a rap song that I did last year in regards to the George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. I said at the end of the first verse, I said, I tried the Dr. King way to smile with my adversaries, where my brother Malcolm's at by any means necessary. Because like you said, turn another cheek and we shall overcome only get you but so far.
Fun fact. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, we both watched Godfather Harlem. For those of y'all that haven't watched it,
yes,
you're missing out.
Oh, man, you got to watch it.
Fun fact, the moment where Bumpy says to Malcolm, basically, let me protect you, that's history. There's a lot of it, actually, that's history. Even Adam Clayton Powell's father, but that moment, actually, that happened. And Malcolm said, I can't be associated with the biggest drug dealer in New York. Yeah. Not on the face. You my friend, I love you, I love you, but I can't be. And at that moment, he knew he was a dead man. He knew he was a dead man. Prior to that moment, my personal opinion, based on what I read about that, Malcolm would have become untouchable to a degree.
If he had let Bumpy protect him?
If he had let Bumpy, the Nation of Islam definitely wouldn't have touched him, because at that time, Stronger Force in Harlem, Nation of Islam, or Bumpy Johnson. And because of Bumpy's connections with others, whether it's the Italians and all, even to a lesser degree, NYPD, Malcolm wouldn't have been touched. NYPD likely doesn't pull their detail. Bumpy has men watching Malcolm round the clock. When you get an opportunity.
Oh man, and when I think about this stuff, I just wish it had went that way, because Lord, would I have loved to have gotten a chance to grow up in the world with Malcolm and with Dr. King, being around to see what the different dynamic of the world would be. Because if you ask me, over the last 18, 20 months, we've taken serious steps backwards.
Right.
Which is why all of these speeches from Malcolm that are now, that resonate on YouTube, why they're getting so much play now, why it resonates so much, because it's still relevant. I mean, the ballot or the bully is something. The ballot or the bullet is deep. I would encourage anybody to listen to it.
Yeah, we don't have those anymore. I mean, they went to anoint people like Al Sharpton and Jesse and
Farrakhan.
And Farrakhan. But those men, they are who they are in their own right, but they're not Malcolm or Martin.
No.
They're shadows of Malcolm and Martin. And that's it. So I don't know. Maybe another one will like that will come along, but
it's hard because it's hard to see that, because when you look at what they did and what they accomplished and how important they were and still are, But you look at the end result of what happened. I mean, look at another one, Fred Hampton. Look at the end result. And Fred Hampton was young, but it's like when you get the ear of a certain group of people, like you said, the United Nations were listening to Malcolm X. Fred Hampton had goddamn Klansmen and Black Panthers associating. And when you get to a certain degree, when you have a certain level of listeners, when you have a certain amount of people paying attention to you and saying, damn, they might be right, the end result has not been good. And I think that's what might discourage the next great black leader from manifesting itself. And it's frustrating because the one thing, like you said, Malcolm and Martin's approach was different, but they both wanted was equality, fairness. That's all they wanted.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm gonna get on ahead and scoot on out of here, brother. Oh man, this was fun. There was a damn good fight too, man. Which had came through. Damn good fight.
Yeah, I watched the highlights.
Hey man, I just hate it.
By default, because I told you I'm not a boxer dude, but it just popped up on the phone, so I watched the highlights, and they gave the boy credit for hanging in there.
I just hated the fact the way his father dragged him after the fight, because he stopped the fight and he didn't need to. He didn't need to stop the fight. Sean Porter wasn't wobbly or barely hanging on by a thread. His aggressiveness just caught up to him, which has been the bugaboo with him in his biggest fights. His aggressiveness eventually catches up to him once fatigue sets in. But for his father, he was winning the fight going into that 10th round. But for his father to come up on the apron, stop the fight after his son is so angry that he got dropped the second time and, screams at the referee, can you continue? Can you continue? Yes! He's like, fuck. I'm like, oh, shit, it's about to go down. For his father to stop that fight, then to publicly in the interview say, I didn't like my son's preparation. He wasn't ready. That to me was his ass would have been fired. Straight up. Because if you weren't prepared for the fight, why the hell did you let him fight?
Yeah. More importantly, why air the laundry?
Why, exactly. Why air the laundry? You keep that's supposed to stay in-house. Anyway, all right, bro. I'm going to get at you, though. It was a great fight, though, but I'm going to get at you, though, man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, I love those enlightening discussions that I have with Tony, man, because, and I'm going to have to get a couple other people on here, too, because I want to hear every side of the coin. But, yeah. And it all just boils down to we just have to do better as a nation. We have to do better as a nation. I didn't get into the whole young Dolph killing with him or anything like that, but we just have to do better. We have to do better, black people as a community, and we have to do better, America as a nation. Because to those people that don't think that there's anything wrong with the system, you're the problem. And with that said, with a buzzer, with a buzzer, with a buzzer. 3 years of Sports Plus life. I think that's pretty cool. So, again, I would like to tell everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Be responsible out there. And also, don't forget to hit that subscription button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. It's not just Tony that I have on here, even though Tony's a regular weekly. I also have my boy Calvin. I have Sean. I have my cousin David. I'll have these folks from time to time, and I have to definitely get my Uncle Tuck on here because he's another knowledge spitter, just like Tony. And again, I would like to say happy Thanksgiving, and don't forget to hit that subscription button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. Mad shout outs to my black and gold family. Happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys. I'm out this bitch. Peace. Happy holiday.